But now we're actually going to get to JD Vance. And he hosted the Charlie Kirk show today. And I was really impressed with what he said because I think hopefully this will get through to people what's going on, like the normies, not the people that are indoctrinated to their psychotic beliefs, thinking what people were doing was okay. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Usually when we have vice presidents, they're like not just second fiddle, they're like all the way in the back and no one pays attention to them. JD Vance has been an incredible voice for the United States. Um, and it will not surprise me if after Trump's term here that he runs and just fucking crushes it in the next presidential cycle. But this is JD Vance, and this was his closing statements on the Charlie Kirk show on their podcast.
There is no unity with people who scream at children
Hold on.
over their. There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know?
You know, it's not even about our First Amendment speech anymore. That's why you see a bunch of people leaving the Democratic Party. I don't think it's for policies. I think it's for morality. I think they morally can't take it anymore, or they just learned. I think there's this group of normies. Like there's two groups, and I know I'm simplifying a bit, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. There's these two groups of normies that are in the Democratic Party. One that are normies did not know what was going on, and the other normies that knew what was going on but didn't know it was that bad. Sorry, there's a third normie. The third normie are the people that want to rebuild the Democratic Party and make them reasonable again. But I'm going to focus on the ones that are the normies that didn't know. No, not the ones who didn't know, because I understand that. Like if you're Democrat and on the left and you really weren't paying attention and you were just somewhat progressive, like, hey, some people need help every once in a while, then I completely understand that. It's the people that knew what was going on and didn't understand how big it was. Because I think they knew. I absolutely think they knew. I mean, Jesus Christ, at least for me, the last 4 or 5 years, I've been trying to tell people, like, look, this is kind of insane. Like, I don't think I can associate with it. And this was 4 or 5 years ago for me. Like, this is insane. I don't think we should be going this direction. Kind of my, kind of, is my, like, I was learning how bad this is getting. Learning about feminism, but I was only looking at the feminism. I really wasn't looking at like leftism, all that. But I'm like, look, maybe feminism's getting a little out of hand here. And then I watched Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? And then the thing that really got me, like, because I was surprised, like, I had no idea that this was going on with kids and all that. But I remember distinctly, and this was on Facebook, that I did this meme of kind of how I forget what it was, but you guys remember the video that went viral that if you could choose if you were appeared in the woods, uh, who would you rather be with, a man or a bear? And she chose the bear, which is logically so fucking dumb. So I posted that on Facebook, and I had people that I've known my entire like at least since I was in high school, just telling me that I didn't get it. And I and look, at least in my mind, I was making incredibly rational arguments here. Like, but they kept saying that I supported uh that kind of assault. They were calling me a rapist apologizer. Like I'm like, no, that's not. Like they just made shit up. They made shit up, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because and I made this argument with them every day. Men and women walk past hundreds, and depending on the city, thousands of men every day, and nothing's happening to them. Yes, do some things happen? I'm not denying that, ever. But they're treating it as if it happens everywhere. So I was trying to do this thought experiment, be like, what if it was a woman and 10,000 bears? That changes it a little bit, don't you think? And they wouldn't budge, like not even a little bit. I I was called this woman hating misogynist. I'm like, no, there's like this is getting too far. Anyway, sorry. Okay, Cornholio, I'll fix Streamlabs at some point. All right, I will. I promise. Maybe after this stream. All right, let's finish off JD Vance's thoughts.
Know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us?
Can you imagine our tax money essentially funding the people destroying this country? Oh, wait, wasn't that USAID? But apparently George Soros gets tax breaks for it. How many more? This is like the fuck around, find out moment. Like, I know we haven't talked about Doge in a little while and like the things that they're working on, but man, Doge, if you are listening, turn it up. And well, not infinity, because you know we don't want to go overboard on shit. Uh Turn it up tenfold. I don't give a shit. Get this ideology out. Stop funding it. Let's have our money go to productive things.
By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
You know, I hate to go back to 2001, but I'm sorry, but we don't negotiate with terrorists. I say that with 10 toes down.